Oh no, and you see my lifestyle, I got G's in the double. See many people there outside where they feed man's oboe. Oh no.
And we back. Want to say welcome back. This is tonight on M&ETV, and as promised, I told you that the cast tonight would have been amazing. And I have two young men here who I personally never had the opportunity to powwow with them, to chop it up, but been knowing them for real years. We're talking Freetown Collective, Mohammed, Lou, they on set. Want to welcome them. So, love, I want to waste no time because we have a limited time. And if we start to talk, the things we start to talk about, we can end up here for 4 days.
Yeah, we jump in one time.
So let's jump in one time. For those of you out there, you've known them for the music. Unique in that aspect, I will ask a very cliche question to start the whole thing rolling. Freetown Collective. The creation of Freetown Collective, that started how?
Yeah, to make a long story short, I met him in 2005 for the first time, and we it was at an open mic, and he came up and he performed, and I was like, wow, who's this? And we stand up and we talk whole night, and then I didn't see him again for like 4 years, and then I was performing in an open mic in Tobago, and after I finished performing, he woke up and put this Ethiopian cross around my neck, and he was like, use that fella? I was like, yeah, use that fella. And since that day, I mean, we've been basically inseparable.
Right.
That is 2009.
Nice. And you say free open mic.
Yeah.
I know him too, Lou, as a poet.
Yeah, we started off doing that.
Poetry.
Yeah.
Nobody saw the melodies coming at all.
Nah.
Nobody saw it.
Yeah, we didn't.
Then it started and it resonated with a lot of people. What I love about Freetown, me personally, I would say the uniqueness of how you niche and have a nice, real audience now. Like people don't understand what fan base and billing fan is. People feel that because you have streams and things that you have fans. That is not fans.
No.
They're loyal people that you can pinpoint. People you can go in their car, been around people, and you hear them playing a Freetown EP. And no songs that you never hear no way.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? That's when you know the thing correct.
Give thanks for that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, well, for the newcomers, the Private Ryan marriage was a brilliant one. It created a song that made the rest of everybody else know who Freetown was. But Freetown been doing that long before.
Yeah, man, for sure.
That.
For sure.
You understand? So, let me ask a question that I try to ask everybody. In the pandemic, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being bad, 10 being good, 1 being bad. What was your state of mind? I'll start with you first, Mohammed. In that period that we all went through, the understanding and the what to do and the honestly, and in terms of as a man, your mental health state, where you think you were at?
I feel like everything in our career and our lives led us to be prepared for that exact moment. And so I not even fronting when I tell you, we was on anywhere between 8 and 10 on any given day. Anywhere between 8 and 10 on any given day. As a matter of fact, my mental state during the pandemic was better than it is right now. I could tell you that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Far, far better than it is right now.
I guess you appreciated the fact that the world slowed down.
I was born to silence, but I was born for that. Yeah.
I would say same thing. Between 8 and 10, some days 12, 14.
Yeah, we was, it was,
Wow.
nah,
Yeah,
it was a
because
godly experience, man.
Yeah, we come from introspection, even before the loudness of Represent with Marshall, the loudness of Born Soldiers with Bungie, and then Private Ryan. We played acoustic music, and that's what we wrote. We wrote from a place of just you and your guitar. So that stillness and presence that you have to know within yourself. We was living there before.
Right. And let me talk a little bit about the poetry. Like, y'all are amazing writers.
Give thanks.
Writers in terms of, and it's very hard to take that and put melody to it. Anybody in any creative space, in our creative space knows that. But in terms of the poetry, I want to get in all the hell a little bit. What is the thought process? Like some of them pieces, like the pieces always say that it's hit hard. You know how some pieces always say, and when you say it, would it hit man chest hard and you have to rock back? And there's some pieces I've heard from both of you all, Lou more so, because there was somebody who sent me something that Lou wrote at a time, and in reading it, you ever reading something, and every time you read a paragraph, you have to stop and go back and read it. You want to make sure if that's what it is you really say.
Yeah.
Give
I've
thanks.
experienced that with you, so I want to know where. Because I, being honest, I think I could tell a story, but telling a story and writing it and really expressing how you want it is really a job.
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
I think both Muhammad and I grew up similar in a way where, as youth men, we created a world for ourselves with books. So we don't have no bag of friend. We never used to, sweat football every evening. But, we used to listen to music, draw, and read. And we have read books that hit we hard in we chest.
Wow.
And as a youth man, being able to see that somebody could do this with words, you're saying, well, first of all, I want to read more books like these.
Right.
And realizing that I have no shortage of books like that, you end up saying, well, I want to write like that.
Nice.
And you end up practicing, and then you find your writing voice.
I think on it all too, we are philosophers, him and I. So our joy, plenty times when we come together, might come together, do something in the studio, and then we catch ourselves on his 2 hours. We sit down talking about life, and just as you know.
Case in point, just
case
now,
in
if you
point,
didn't
right?
put on the camera, we'd end up here and then do the show.
So I tell people, I feel like I real spoil when it comes to conversation, because him and I been having a 13, 14-year conversation. Because as we learn something new, we bring
Right.
it back to the table and say, well, I used to think this, but hey, boy, I read this yesterday. What do you think about that, boy? And we just knocking it off for each other, knocking back and forth,
Like it's a new term that I use plenty now. Like I try to tell people that, especially when men is concerned, black men, your vulnerability is your superpower.
Of course.
It is not a weakness.
Of
We
course.
have been misled for many, many moons into believing that your vulnerability is a weakness. Right? And I'm saying that to come back here now to ask this. With what we've been seeing in the past, I would say that's the past, in the pandemic, coming with the pandemic, right before 2019 to now, when you wake up in the morning and you see your peers and people who look like us operating how they operate, I'm actually asking for advice. How you all cope with dealing with that? Like what we were talking about, like how we hear these young black men, you're seeing them doing garbage, but you can't say that they're doing garbage because it comes off as, you understand, we have to choose our words wisely. Yeah. So I am asking here now, in a case of what you think, what has been your approach in communicating or having better communication with our peers who you're seeing and knowing for a fact going down a road that they shouldn't be, or doing something that we know for a fact is not the right thing?
I would say first and foremost for me, check yourself, right? So you have to be the strongest example you could be before you could really start to tell anybody anything. Preaching never worked for me as a youth. I don't want nobody preaching to me, right? But when somebody sets an example and you watch that and you say, hey boy, that's a light. And the more times you'll find people approaching you, and the people who approach you, they would have already put themselves in a state to receive what you have to say, because it's a state of humility, right? As for the greater situation, I am under no kind of and I'm fooling myself to think I could change that particular thing as a whole. What I could do is try to make my light so strong and the corner that I shine in my light in so bright that it pull enough people who then become lights themselves, and on and on and on.
Right.
I think a lot of people feel as though you could get up and you could talk down this problem. Can't.
You can't.
Can't.
My favorite sport is boxing. And boxing was my favorite sport even as a child, because I used to wonder, how could this young boxer who is fit take advice and training from an old man who probably barely big by this time, can't walk properly, can't last one rung in the ring.
Yeah.
But it's a combination of the youth and skill of the younger man and the brain power of the older man. So when the older man and experience. So when an older man see a youth man in a street fight, he say, hey, with about 9 months or some heavy training, I could fix that stance. Yeah. But he jab not bad. And that's how I look at the younger generation, especially young black men. I understand why the system is afraid of them. And I like that. The edge that young black men have on the planet, I celebrate that.
Right.
But from my experiences, I could see where the guard could be a little stronger. I could see how a more experienced opponent could allow us to burn out ourselves before we get a good round in. So I approach young men who fearless by complimenting them on strengths that I see they already have. And I give them the option. I say, but if you want to really be an accomplished fighter, if you want to fight for 10 rounds, I mean, we could have a conversation.
Good. Well, don't go nowhere. Let me stick a pin right here. I cannot just wrap these fellas up as I tell earlier from the top. We're going to take a small break. We'll be back. We are free tongue. We're here. We're chopping up. We're talking everything. We will get to the music. I know that they're watching. I don't want to know what's going on with the music. Trust me. I have no fear where the music is concerned with these guys at all. None. You ever trust something so much? People that say, Lucy, I can put my hand on a block. Music lives in them. You hear both of them say that is what they love. So that is not an issue. We're here to discuss all sorts of things, but we'll get to the music. Keep it locked. We're coming back.
I just want the happiness. If I broke, now my business.